All right, good evening, fifth graders. Now we're moving on to Unit 3, Flipped. Today we're working on 3.3. We're going to be working with degrees. This can be this can be difficult for some kids because we're working with the angles, degrees inside an angle. And let's kind of start with the basic part of things. The first part, how many degrees are in a circle? So if I draw a circle, okay, we want to know how many degrees make up a circle. So if I have the inside of a circle, this is kind of confusing a little bit here, but let's say right here, if I add up this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle, how many degrees would that be? The answer is 360. This is one major thing to keep in mind. If you add up all the circles here, or add up all the angles here, it forms a mini circle right here. It doesn't matter if you have tons of angles all over the place, as long as they all meet and form a circle, it's 360 when you add them all up. That is a huge number you have to remember when working with angles. Another thing I want you to notice here, that's a huge number, is the number 180. As you can see, 180 is half of 360. So what that means, kids, is a straight line. Here's a straight line. If I were just to add up the angles here, that would equal 180. Now, if I add up these angles as well, plus these angles, it'd be 180 plus 180, which equals 360. Keep that in mind, because over this next couple weeks here, when we're working with degrees and angles, I'm always going to be asking, does it form a straight line or does it form a circle? If it forms a straight line, it equals 180. If it forms a circle, it equals, form a circle equals 360. I was just taking a look if I was still recording. Next one, what is the degree measure of each of the four angles in the picture? And this is what it means. We split it in half here, or in fourths. See how we split in fourths? What do you think the degree would be right here? As you can see, you're used to seeing this is a right angle, right? It forms kind of a perfect corner. And from all the years past, when remembering this equals 90. Right? A right angle always equals 90. Remember, we have right angles, we have obtuse angles, we have acute angles. We'll be working more with that here in the future. That equals 90. So if that corner right there equals 90, this corner right here equals 90, this one equals 90, this one equals 90. Here comes that circle I was just telling you about. When I add up all of these angles, it's a circle. So aren't I just doing 90 times 4? Well, I know 9 times 4 is 36. Plus the 0 is 360. Do you see the circle? Remember what I was telling you about 360. Now, if I were just to add two of those angles together, it would be 90 plus 90, which equals 180, which equals a straight line. Hopefully this is making a little bit of sense. Next problem. The circle was divided into 8 equal parts. What is the degree measure of each of the 8 angles formed? Now I took this and I broke it apart into 8 parts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They want to know what one of those angles is. It's not confusing, kids. You have 360, right? So that's our total. All those angles together equals 360. Now we're going to divide it by 8. 360 divided by 8. So what does each one of these things equal? How many times, and we're going to have to do some long division here. Something we haven't practiced a whole lot this year, so just kind of follow along with me. When we're working with this in class right now, I'll probably let you use a calculator just to help you out, because it's really important that you understand the concepts. 8 goes into 3 0 times. We have a 0. Go ahead and subtract. We've got a 3. We bring down to 6. 8 goes into 36 4 times, because 4 times 8 equals 32. I'm going to go ahead and subtract. Bring down the 0. 8 can go into 40. How many times? It goes in 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. I'm going to subtract. I have 0, so I don't have to carry on with the decimal. So what this is saying is each one of these angles is 45 degrees. Now, does that make sense? Well, how can we check it? We can do 8 times 45, which we know equals 360. Another way we can kind of take a look at this is 45, 45, 45, 45. So 45 times 4, right? Because we have 4 of them. It's a straight line, so we know this number should equal 180. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 2 is 18, 180. Can I keep cruising along here? The circle was divided into 12 equal parts. what is the degree measure? So if I have 12 equal parts, you're going to be taking 360, and you have to divide it by 12. Because there's 12 angles that make up the circle. So 360 divided by 12. Well, I'm going to do this kind of quickly. 12 goes into 36 3 times, and we have a 0. So each angle would equal 30. Keep going so I can keep under the 10-minute time. The circle is divided into 6 equal parts. What would the degree measure of the 6 angles be? Well, we have 360 again, because it's the whole circle. Divide it by 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times, so it'd be 60. The circle was divided into equal parts so that the angles have a degree measure of 120. How many angles would be formed? So we want the angles to form a circle. Right, kids? A circle, but they want the angles to be 120. Well, we know a circle equals 360, right? So what number times 120 equals 360? Well, what number times 12 equals 36? That would be a 3. So how many angles would we need? We would need 3 angles, because 3 times 120 equals 360. Keep cruising along here. If a circle is divided into 360 equal parts, what would the, I'm not supposed to say the degree measure, sorry kids, it's running off the page, of each angle be? Don't get confusing here. We have a circle. It's divided into 360 parts. So let's think about it. We have a circle which equals 360, right? And we're dividing into 360 parts. It's kind of like you have 360 cupcakes at a birthday party. You invite 360 friends. Well, guess what? Everyone gets only 1. So each degree would be 1. So I would draw it, but it would look crazy. Here's my circle, and I would have to draw 360 angles. As you can kind of tell, it would get kind of messy, okay? 360 angles would be a lot of angles. Let's keep on going here. So now we're going to be talking about how to name an angle, okay? This first one, draw angle BAC. Let's take a look here. This is what it looks like. BAC. So the A is right in the middle, right here. BAC, this can also be read as CAB. Let's keep that in mind. Let's keep going here. Right there, CAB, or it can also be read as angle A. What is the vertex of the angle? It would be point A. Vertex means the point, okay? So let's take a look down here. The name of this angle is QRP. QRP. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense because when you're writing this angle, the Q must be in the middle. So some examples would be RQP or PQR or just angle Q. All right, let's keep cruising here. Let's see how I'm doing on time. Where are you at? Ooh, I gotta keep speeding up here. I have a couple minutes left. Okay. All along with me. We're still going here. We accept that the total number of degrees in a circle is, total number of degrees inside a circle would be 360. We also accept that a circle can be drawn around any given point. And what right here? How many squares are around the center point? Let's take a look here. We have squares. We already provided this example, right? Here's the center point. So they want to know what would the angles be? Well, we know these are 90-degree angles. Because 90 times 4 is 360. Kind of sped some things up for you. You're not missing anything. You're going to see some stuff like this today in your practice, and this is something that's really important for me to go over with you. What is the degree measure of angle E? Take a look at angle E. This one's pretty basic, kids, because it is a right angle. So we automatically know that one would be a 90. Okay, let's keep going. Angle D. Now it gets a little trickier. This is why it gets trickier. Because we have angle D here. You can't use your protractor today. It's all around this point. Let's keep in mind, remember, a circle equals 360. Remember that. I'm going to use a different color here to help you out because we're still finding angle D. I know that this is a straight line. Remember what I told you earlier on in this lesson, a straight line equals 180. So kids, doesn't that mean that, I'll use a red color here so we don't get confused. this angle plus this angle plus this angle, when you add them together, would all equal 180. They look like the same angle, right? So basically, kids, in order to find D, we have to do 180 divided by 3. 3 goes into 18 6 times, which equals 60. If these are all 60s, makes sense, wouldn't it? Because it makes a straight line. 60 times 3 is 180, which is a straight line. D equals 60 degrees. Now you're gonna have to rewatch these videos if this isn't making sense, but I'll tell you what, these videos will help you on this. Look at F. F is the same exact concept. We have a straight line here. I do know that this angle is 90, this angle is 90. 90 plus 90 is 180. Well, the other side would have to equal 180. These are all the same angle. So once again, we're doing 180 divided by 3. Well, 3 goes into 18 6 times. 60 is my answer. What is the measure of angle G? That one's easy, kids. It's a right angle. Okay, so that means it is 90 degrees. Measure of angle H. This is where it gets tricky. We have a circle, right? We know in a circle, 360 is our magic number. Follow along here. This is where it gets kind of tricky, okay? This video might get a little longer, but it's well worth it. It is well worth it, okay? This right angle right here is a 90. That means these other two angles, when I add it up with 90, equals 360. So this is what you have to do. In order to find these two angles right here, you have to subtract the 90 away from the 360. So we have 270 left. So I'm going to change colors here. This angle plus this angle, when you add them up, equals 270. So we have to go 270 divided by 2 in order to find out what each one of these angles are. Let's take a look. I got a 1. This goes into 2. Subtract. 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 1, bring down the 10. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 10, subtract, we got a 0. We are done. 135 is my answer. Let's go back and check. If this is 135, and this is 135, and that's 90, when I add it up, it will equal 360. What is the measure of angle I? Angle I is the same exact problem as the last one. Okay? Please refer to the problem before. This one right here, what is the measure of angle A? Let's take a look here. This one's fun. This one's kind of complicated, so hang in there with me, okay? So when we're solving this problem right here, angle A, we have to find out what this angle and this angle is. When we're dealing with a triangle, okay? When we're dealing with a triangle, all the angles inside a triangle equal 180. So my triangle, if it's an equilateral triangle, will be 60, 60, and 60. So in this case right here, I've got a 60 here, and I've got a 60 here. So I'm starting with 360, right? Minus 60 plus 60 is 120. 240. That means this angle plus this angle equals 240. So I'm going to have to take 240, and I'm going to have to divide it by 2. Equals 120. A is 120. Okay. I'm going to stop there for today so I don't lose any of you. But one thing that I am going to tell you, remember the number is 360. If you have all the angles meeting at one point, that equals 360. If you have a straight line, that is 180. All right, hopefully this helped. I know this one got a little long. I apologize, kids, but it's well worth it. You can always rewind, pause, and keep going with this, okay? I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.